The applause started before he even reached the stage. People admired his tailored suit. They admired the keys to his brand-new luxury SUV. They admired the expensive watch resting on his wrist. To everyone in that room, Ryan looked like the definition of success. Then something unexpected happened. During a casual conversation, someone asked a simple question. If you stopped working today, how long could you live without another paycheck? The room fell silent. Ryan forced a smile. He changed the subject. Because despite earning well into six figures, the honest answer was less than 4 months. That same night, another man quietly drove home in a 12-year-old sedan. Nobody noticed him. Nobody complimented his clothes. Nobody asked for financial advice. His name was Alex. And without anyone realizing it, he had already bought something far more valuable than luxury. He had bought freedom. The strange part? 5 years earlier, if you had compared their lives, almost everyone would have predicted Ryan would become the millionaire. So what changed? And why do so many intelligent, hardworking people spend decades looking wealthy without ever becoming wealthy? The answer begins with a mistake almost all of us are encouraged to make. 5 years earlier, Alex and Ryan had started new jobs at the same technology company. Both were 30 years old. Both earned $80,000 a year. Both had around $50,000 in savings. Neither came from a wealthy family. Neither had inherited money. They simply wanted what most people want: a comfortable life, financial security, and eventually, the freedom to choose how they spent their time. For the first year, their financial habits looked almost identical. They invested a little, saved a little, spent responsibly. Then promotion season arrived. Both received almost identical raises. Suddenly, they had more money than ever before. And that's when the real test began. It wasn't about how much they earned. It was about the image they felt expected to maintain. Ryan noticed it first. A coworker arrived in a brand new German SUV. Another upgraded to a luxury apartment downtown. Someone else joked, "If you're still driving an old car after this raise, what are you even working for?" Everyone laughed. Ryan laughed too. But the sentence stayed with him. Not because anyone was judging him, but because he started judging himself. That's how status works. Nobody has to pressure you. Your own mind does it for them. A week later, Ryan visited a dealership. He wasn't planning to buy a car. He just wanted to see what was available. The salesman asked one simple question: what monthly payment would make you comfortable? Not, what total price are you willing to pay? That tiny difference changed everything. Ryan focused on the monthly payment. The dealership focused on the total sale. A few signatures later, Ryan drove home in a beautiful new luxury SUV. It was reliable, comfortable, safe, and honestly, it fit his budget. Nothing about the purchase felt irresponsible. That's what makes this story so important. Most financial mistakes don't feel like mistakes when you make them. They feel completely justified. At almost the same time, Alex faced the exact same temptation. He visited the same dealership. He test drove a similar SUV. He loved it. For a moment, he imagined pulling into work with everyone watching. Then he asked himself one question: am I buying transportation, or am I buying approval? That question changed the decision completely. He kept driving his older sedan, not because he disliked nice cars, but because he wanted something that couldn't be photographed. Options, freedom, time. Neither man realized it then, but one had just purchased an expensive vehicle. The other had quietly purchased a future. And over the next few years, those two decisions would begin pulling their lives in completely different directions. Year 1. Ryan loved every moment of owning the SUV. Every compliment felt like proof that his hard work was finally paying off. Clients noticed. Friends noticed. Even complete strangers treated him differently. And to Ryan, that mattered. Because confidence has value. In many careers, first impressions really do open doors. Alex understood that. He never believed money should only be saved. He simply believed appearances should never become more expensive than freedom. At first, Ryan's decision looked like the winning one. The monthly payment was manageable. His income continued to grow. Nothing seemed out of control. That's why lifestyle inflation is so dangerous. It doesn't arrive as a crisis. It arrives as comfort. A year later, Ryan received another raise. Around the office, people celebrated with bigger purchases. One upgraded to a luxury apartment. Another financed a new boat. Someone joked, "What's the point of making more money if nobody can tell?" Everyone laughed. Ryan laughed too. Without realizing it, his definition of success had quietly changed. He wasn't comparing himself to his past anymore. He was comparing himself to everyone around him. Behavioral economists call this social comparison. The people around you become your financial measuring stick. and that measuring stick keeps moving. Meanwhile, Alex also received the same raise. He celebrated differently. He increased his monthly investment by $400. Then he booked a vacation with his family. People often think wealth builders never enjoy life. That's rarely true. Alex spent generously on experiences. He simply avoided spending heavily on things that lost value while trying to impress people he barely knew. Then something changed. Ryan's SUV needed its first major service. The bill wasn't shocking, but it wasn't small either. A month later, insurance increased. 6 months later, registration renewal arrived. Individually, every expense seemed reasonable. Together, they quietly absorbed most of his latest raise. The funny thing was, Ryan never blamed the SUV. He blamed the feeling that he needed a higher income. That's how the cycle continues. When spending rises, the solution often feels like earning more. Instead of asking, "Do I really need a more expensive lifestyle?" we ask, "How can I make even more money?" Here's what nobody talks about. Looking rich rarely ends with one purchase. Every luxury purchase creates pressure for the next one. The expensive car makes the old apartment feel outdated. The new apartment makes the old furniture look cheap. The new furniture makes the old phone feel embarrassing. The cycle feeds itself. Not because people are irresponsible, because humans naturally want their lives to feel consistent. Psychologists call this the Diderot effect. One new possession often leads to a chain of additional purchases to match it. Alex experienced temptation too. There were moments he questioned himself. When coworkers admired Ryan's SUV, he wondered if he was being too cautious. But instead of reacting emotionally, he opened his investment account. It wasn't exciting. There were no compliments, no applause, just steady, quiet growth. And that's when he realized something. Wealth grows in silence. Status demands an audience. Neither Alex nor Ryan knew it yet. But the next event wouldn't test how much they earned. It would test how much financial freedom they had actually built. Year 5. The economy slowed. Hiring froze. News headlines became increasingly negative. Words like inflation, layoffs, and recession suddenly dominated every conversation. Nobody knew what would happen next. But everyone became more careful. One Monday morning, an email appeared in every employee's inbox. Mandatory company meeting. The office fell silent. Rumors spread within minutes. Some believed promotions were coming. Others feared layoffs. Ryan's heart raced. For the first time since buying his SUV, he wasn't thinking about horsepower or luxury. He was thinking about monthly payments. The company announced a restructuring. Fortunately, neither Alex nor Ryan lost their jobs. But something had changed. On the drive home, Ryan asked himself a question he had never seriously considered. If my paycheck stopped tomorrow, how long could I keep this lifestyle? That night, he opened his banking app. Mortgage, car payment, insurance, utilities, subscriptions, credit card bills. One by one, the numbers appeared. His income was high. His lifestyle was higher. For the first time, Ryan realized he didn't actually own his lifestyle. His next paycheck did. Alex asked himself the same question. His answer was different. His investment portfolio had continued growing. His monthly expenses were still modest. Even if life became difficult, he had options. And options create confidence. That's the hidden side of wealth nobody photographs. Not luxury, not status, peace of mind. Then everything flipped. A few months later, the stock market dropped sharply. Social media was full of panic. People claimed investing was too risky. Some sold everything. Others stopped investing completely. Ryan hesitated. If the market is falling, shouldn't I wait until things feel safe? It sounded logical. Most people think the same way. But here's what history has shown again and again. The biggest opportunities often appear when fear is at its highest. Alex didn't know when the market would recover. Nobody did. So he continued investing every month. Not because he was fearless, but because he had a plan before emotions took over. Months turned into years. The market slowly recovered. The investments Alex bought during the downturn became some of the fastest growing assets in his portfolio. Ryan eventually invested too, but only after the headlines became positive again. By then, prices had already climbed. The psychology is more important than the math. Fear convinces us to buy high and sell low. Discipline quietly does the opposite. By the end of year 5, the gap between Alex and Ryan wasn't obvious from the outside. Ryan still looked more successful. His SUV still turned heads. His lifestyle still impressed people. But beneath the surface, Alex had built something much harder to see: financial resilience. And over the next 15 years, that invisible advantage would become impossible to hide. 15 years later, Alex and Ryan met for lunch after a company reunion. The conversation quickly turned to money. Not salaries. Not promotions. Life. Ryan smiled. Remember when everyone thought I was the successful one? Alex laughed. They weren't completely wrong. Ryan had enjoyed the road trips, the comfortable drives, the confidence that came with his success. Those moments were real. But so were the costs. Over 20 years, the luxury SUVs had come and gone. The expensive phones had been replaced. The designer clothes had gone out of style. Almost everything Ryan had bought to look successful had eventually disappeared. Alex's investments hadn't. Every year, they quietly compounded. Every dividend bought more shares. Every market recovery rewarded patience. By age 50, Alex's investment portfolio had grown to around $2.3 million. Ryan had built a respectable net worth of about $1.2 million, including his home equity and retirement savings. He wasn't poor. He wasn't irresponsible. He had simply spent more years buying things that made him look wealthy, instead of assets that quietly made him wealthier. Ryan looked at Alex and asked, "So, should nobody buy nice things?" Alex smiled. "No, you should buy nice things, but only after your assets can comfortably pay for them. That's the lesson most people miss. Looking rich isn't the problem. Buying status before building wealth is. Because when your lifestyle depends entirely on your paycheck, every promotion feels necessary. Every setback feels terrifying. Every paycheck already has a job before it arrives. But when your assets begin producing income, something remarkable happens. Work becomes a choice instead of a necessity. Time becomes yours again. And that's what real wealth has always been. Not luxury. Freedom. The world encourages us to spend money proving we're successful. Real wealth asks us to spend years becoming successful instead. Status gets attention. Wealth creates options. Status fades. Ownership compounds. The people who become financially free aren't always the highest earners. They're usually the ones who stop asking, "How can I look successful today?" and start asking, "What decision will make my future self wealthier?" Because the goal was never to drive the nicest car in the parking lot. The goal was to reach a day when you could leave that parking lot forever. Not because you lost your job, but because you no longer needed one. If this changed the way you think about money, subscribe for more documentaries on the psychology of wealth and smarter financial decisions. And in the next documentary, we'll explore why saving money alone will never make you rich.